In this lesson, we're going to be talking about a very important aspect of the English pronunciation that's really tough for non-native speakers. In these lessons, we have already talked about single sounds, the importance of word and sentence stress, as well as intonation. But today's lesson is about something called the rhythm of English. Understanding the rhythm of English is crucial if you are serious about sounding good in English. Because of that, this lesson is for anyone who would like to increase their awareness of the English pronunciation and start paying attention to certain things native English speakers do that don't exist in other languages. So without further ado, let me start you off with this sentence. How would you read it? A lot of students would like to read this sentence the way they would normally do it in their mother tongue, by placing the stress equally on every word in the sentence. But native English speakers don't do it this way. For a native English speaker, not every word in the sentence is important. In fact, let me ask you, which are the most important words in this sentence? Have a moment to think about it. Which of these words carry the main message, the main meaning? Well, we can start with come, which is the main verb, and then we've got the name of the place, London, and of course we need to know when this is happening. So end and November are also going to be important. So out of all of these words, only 4 are important to the meaning of the whole sentence. So what happens in English is that we put the stress on those important words in the sentence. So we'll say come, London, and November. And reading the sentence, we'll say, I'm coming to London at the end of November. You can clap with me if you like. Listen and repeat. Come, London, and November. I'm coming to London at the end of November. Did you see what just happened? I said the 4 words first, separately, and then I pronounced the whole sentence in exactly the same time as those 4 words before. This is what we call the rhythm of English. It can be slow, just like before. Come, London, end November. I'm coming to London at the end of November. Faster. Come, London, end November. I'm coming to London at the end of November. Fast. Come, London, end November. I'm coming to London at the end of November. Or even very fast. Come, London, end November. I'm coming to London at the end of November. That last one was challenging, wasn't it? So in any case, this is what we call the rhythm of English. So what happens here is that it doesn't really matter how many unimportant words there are between the important ones. The sentence is still going to take exactly the same time to say. This is why we sometimes have the impression that native English speakers swallow words. They don't actually swallow them, they simply pay attention to the most important words in the sentence, and then squeeze the ones that are not important to fit the rhythm of the sentence. This is important when you are learning English, because it's very likely that your mother tongue works in a different way. Most languages in the world are syllable timed. This means that each syllable takes exactly the same time to say. But in English, we don't really care about syllables. What we care about are the most important words inside the sentence. This is very often difficult for learners of English who apply the rules of the mother tongue pronunciation to English sentences. So what happens here, for instance? A lot of students will read this sentence more or less like this. I am coming to London at the end of November. Maybe it will sound a little bit more natural, but a lot of learners will be placing equal emphasis on every word in the sentence, and that's because their mother tongue works like this. English doesn't, and we need to train ourselves to be able to sound good in English. So if you pay attention, in our sentence, the words that received the stress were mainly nouns and the main verb. We call these kinds of words content words. Other types of content words in English would be adjectives and adverbs. But look at all those words in between the important words. What kind of words are they? They are pronouns, they're auxiliary verbs, articles, and prepositions. We could also add modal verbs to this list. All of these words that I have just mentioned are generally not stressed in an English sentence, and that's because they're not important to the meaning of this sentence. So again, if we come back to how a native English speaker would say this, they wouldn't be pronouncing the pronoun, the auxiliary verb, the prepositions, and the articles with any emphasis. I'm coming to London at the end of November. Only those important words receive the stress here. Now let's practice this with a little exercise. I'm going to show you some sentences, and I'd like you to think first about the most important words inside these sentences, and then listen to how I pronounce them and repeat with me. Let's try. I think we can all agree here that the verb as well as the place are the important words. So listen. She lives in New York. She lives in New York. Can you notice how we're using the preposition in to connect the verb and the place? She lives in New York. Have a look at the next one. Listen and check if I'm putting the stress on the same words as you thought are important here. They need more water for the school. They need more water for the school. Here, I'd like you to pay attention to what happens after the word water. There is a natural pause there, and then the sentence accelerates. They need more water for the school. Making pauses is a very natural feature of English pronunciation. This is also very difficult for students because in our mother tongues we don't normally pause that much. But English is a much slower language. We often make pauses because they help us guide our listeners and express the meaning we want to express. Let's have a look at another sentence. Now, where do you think the important words are? It's probably going to be the subject of the sentence, the verb, and the object, right? The cat sat on the mat. The cat sat on the mat. Again, we're not paying almost any attention to the or on in this sentence. The cat sat on the mat. Have a look at the next one. Now listen and check. I want to go to the store. I want to go to the store. Again, as you can see, verbs receive the emphasis, and then there is the place. The pronoun, the prepositions, and the article don't really matter. I want to go to the store. One more sentence. Where do you think the important words are? By now, you shouldn't have any problem deciding that the verb and the objects are the most important words here. Let's practice. He's making coffee for his friend. He's making coffee for his friend. Well done! Now, before we move on to the final part of this lesson, I wanted to let you know that if you'd really like to improve your pronunciation, you should consider joining my online learning community, Your English Upgrade. Your English Upgrade is a wonderful place if you want to improve your pronunciation and other skills, and join me learning English on one of the 2 weekly webinars that are available to any member of the community. When you become a member of Your English Upgrade, you immediately gain access to pronunciation hacks, a full pronunciation hacks course that I've designed that will help you sound better and more confident in English, and to push you even further, there are 2 weekly challenges for pronunciation practice that will really make you improve the way you speak. And there are other courses on the platform that are just waiting for you to click on and improve your English step by step. And, of course, you can download all the PDFs and audio practice files that go with this video and any other video that I post on YouTube. The link to the community is in the description. I'll see you there. Now, the rhythm of English is not only important when you speak, but also when you listen to native speakers. A lot of students report having problems understanding what native speakers are saying. But the reason is exactly this: they don't understand the rhythm of English. And it's not really a surprise, because if you think about it, when you are born, you are exposed to your mother tongue, and so your brain learns to recognize the rhythm of your mother tongue. But English is different. So in other words, you need to train your brain to be able to understand what native speakers are telling you. Without that training, your brain is going to be applying the rules of your mother tongue to English pronunciation, and then it's going to be confusing. So when you learn English, make sure that you also spend some time on listening practice, because this way you'll be training your brain to understand what native speakers are saying. Now, coming back to the rhythm of English, one of its consequences are contractions. Because subjects, auxiliary verbs, and modal verbs are not really that important to the meaning of the sentence, native speakers pronounce them very fast, as contractions. Obviously, you know that we can contract subjects and auxiliary verbs, as well as subjects and modal verbs. But there is also a group of informal contractions that reflect the way English is spoken. One of the most common examples is this one. How would you say it? It's wanna, isn't it? And where does it come from? What does it mean? It's want to, right? I want to go there. I want to go there. But as we know, to is a preposition, and it's not important to the meaning of the sentence. So when native speakers say this, they make it so short that it almost doesn't sound like a to anymore. It's just wanna. I wanna go there. So let's have a look at some more of these informal contractions. Similarly to wanna, we have 2 more expressions where to is contracted, and these are gonna, which stands for going to, and gotta, which stands for got to. In case you're wondering where this got to comes from, you need to think about the sentence, I have to go. Now, in case you didn't know, I have to go can also be expressed with get, and we can say, I have got to go. This got to makes the sentence sound more casual and implies immediacy of action. I've got to go means that I have to move now. Now, in informal English, people will simply say, got to go. And when you say got to go in a very quick way, people are simply going to say, gotta go, gotta go. So gotta stands for got to. Now, there are more informal contractions, and we're now going to have a look at a group of words that are contracted with the preposition of. For example, kinda stands for kind of. Sorta stands for sort of. They're very nice expressions when you speak English quickly. It's kind of nice. It's sorta good. We also have lotta, which is lot of, and outer, which is out of. When somebody says, I'm out of here, they simply don't want to be in the place they are at, and they want to leave immediately. I'm out of here. Another typical informal contraction is when we connect the verb give with me and let with me. Gimme and lemme. And finally, we've got some contractions that I'm sure you have seen before. Cause is the contracted form of because. Come on is the contracted form of come on. And then, if you like English food, there is also fish and chips. In here, that letter N, which is surrounded by apostrophes, stands for and. This way of pronouncing and is very typical for combinations of nouns that are connected with N or adjectives that are connected with and. For instance, knife and fork, black and white, sick and tired. These combinations are called binomials, and we typically pronounce the word end inside them as just n. So how can you work on your rhythm of English? Well, in here, there are two techniques that you can use. The first one is making transcripts, and the other is imitating native speakers. We'll discuss both of these techniques in our next lesson. And for now, take care and enjoy the learning process.